Hello, everyone. Let's play ball. How's everyone doing today? Happy Sunday to all of you. I hope you've had a great weekend. And today, one of the very first things we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and do a giveaway of a reverse osmosis water filtration system because one of our community members that won one of them is not from this country. So she graciously told me to go ahead and pay it forward to someone else. And I said, all right, we'll do it from the live stream. So if you're here, stay or stick around and you may win one of them. But remember that if you don't live within the United States, it's very difficult, if not impossible, for SIMPURE to ship it to you in whatever other country you live in. So unfortunately, it's restricted to the lower 48, and they can probably get them up to Alaska. I'm not sure how much or how well they can get it up to Hawaii or not. That's the deal on that, ladies and gentlemen. I always feel bad whenever somebody wins that I can't get the product shipped out to them, but that's just the name of the game. That's how it is. Let's see, how's everyone doing? Good to see you all today. I hope you had a great weekend and a great day as well. Hello, Sandy, Paula, how you doing? Shelly, how are you doing? All the way from Oklahoma. Good to see you here. Victoria, good to see Disabled and Prepping's in the house, one of our OGs. The Indie Auto Fest. Hello to you. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, Monday is Silver Monday. All right, so Monday I'm going to be announcing the person that won the 2 ounces of silver from last Monday's video. And then tomorrow's video, the Word on the Street video, is going to be an entry video that I will announce the winner of the following Monday. All right, so every Monday till the end of this calendar year, I'm going to be giving away silver. It'll be a minimum of 2 ounces. So it's $100 bill. All right, $100 bill. Okay, and who knows? Maybe the closer that we get to the holidays, the more that'll go up, or for sure it will be going up. I'm not sure that I'm going to be doing a Christmas bash giveaway this year, but I got some silver to give away from Alpha Omega Gold, one of our new sponsors here, and I'm going to definitely give it away. All right, so make sure that you tune in every single Monday. Well, tune in every day, ladies and gentlemen. You all know that the stuff that I put out is very, very important. Okay, no, but in all honesty, I try to find information that maybe not everyone is talking about, and information that I think is very relevant in order for us to maintain our preparedness and or start getting prepared if you're not getting prepped. If you didn't catch the video that I put out earlier today, I think it's a very good video for people that have forced air or boilers to heat their home to watch, because I'll tell you what, I didn't think it would be so easy to make it so that I can power my boiler or the boiler in the house that I live in now without having electricity from the grid. It is so simple to do. It literally took me like 20-30 minutes to do it, and that was while recording as well. So go check that out, especially if you have a boiler or a forced air heater in your house that's like connected directly to your electric panel, to your breaker panel. So I hope you guys are checking it out. I haven't even checked in on that video to see if it's doing all right, if people are actually watching or gravitating to it. But I hope that people that can use that information will come across it. Let's see. Oh, we have a good question here. If inflation jacks up, how much is silver going up? Well, you know, inflation is a leading indicator that the price of things go up. However, gold and silver, I would say, more so gold, is a leading indicator that prices are going to go up too. All right. So as you see gold going up and silver in this case going up as well, what it's saying is that here in the next 6 to 18 months, the price of things are going to start shooting back up as well. All right. Because, financial analysts like to call gold the barometer of the economy, right? Or the barometer of inflation, because it's a leading indicator. It tells you, hey, things are going to get up there in price. So if you remember back in, I think it was 2020, right? Gold was sitting at about, I think maybe about 1,600, 1,600, something like that. One of you can fact check me on that if you want to look it up. And it didn't take, and things started going up in price a little bit, because of what was going on there, but they didn't really start going up in price a lot, like for another year and a half, 2 years, is when they started just going up like crazy. And people were like, what in the world is going on? And as you can see where we're at now, right now where we're at, I believe it's kind of like a plateau. So if you all remember, inflation just skyrocketed. And when I say inflation, what I mean is what most people think inflation is, which is the price of goods going up, the price of consumer goods and assets going up. All right. The true definition of inflation is when the money supply is inflated. It's inflated with new money that was never worked into existence, really. So, for example, quantitative easing, or QE, as they call it, that is in itself a way of the Federal Reserve printing money out of nothing so that it can lend it to the government. Right? They don't do it directly because they can't do it by law directly. The Fed can't just print money and lend it to the government directly. So what happens is the government puts bonds out for sale. And what I mean by for sale is they put out bonds that they want to have filled. And let's say they put out $1 billion in bonds, right? Let's just make up a number. It goes out to the open market. And in the open market, anyone can purchase those bonds. So countries can purchase it, governments from other countries, companies, banks can purchase them, individuals, private investors like us can purchase them. But what happens is that when one of their auction fails, meaning that all of the bonds that they wanted to sell did not sell, what happens is that the banks, the big banks, they gobble those government bonds up with their creditors' money, with the people that lent them or deposited their money. Because when you deposit money into a bank, you're really lending them your money, pretty much giving them full ownership of that money to do with whatever they want, right? So the big banks buy the bonds that weren't able to sell, and then what they do is they turn around and they sell those banks to the Federal Reserve for cash. Well, where did that cash come from that the Federal Reserve gave the banks? They printed it out of thin air. So any bonds that are purchased by banks and then sold to the Federal Reserve in exchange for fiat currency, that is inflationary. Now, the government put out their bonds to sell, and all of the bonds were purchased privately, right? Then that's really not inflationary because the money that was used to purchase the bonds was already in the economy. So it's a zero-sum game. But when the banks buy the bonds and then they sell it to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve prints the money out of nowhere to give to the banks, that is inflationary. All right. So you can tell that right now we're kind of like in a plateau, meaning that inflation and the price of goods went up really high, and then they came down a little bit, but they didn't come down to the levels that they were at before. So I'm going to use ribeye because it's my favorite example to use because I remember it so vividly. I remember around 2020, 2019, one of those years, whenever Costco first opened up here in Fairbanks, a pound of ribeye was like between $6.99 and $7.99, right? That's how much a pound of ribeye was. And then during the health crisis, right, it went all the way up to like $18.99 a pound. And now it's come back down a little bit to like $14.99, $16.99 a pound, depending where you are in the country. But I'm talking about here in Fairbanks. Now you can go buy yourself a slab of ribeye for about $14.99 a pound. If you want to buy them pre-cut, they're back up to about $18.99 a pound. But my point is that the prices have kind of like stabilized. They've come back down a little bit from their high, but they've stabilized. And what are we waiting for now? Well, gold and silver have given us an indication that the price of things here in the next, I would say within the next 6 months to a year or so. Sometimes it takes up to 18 months for it to show itself in the public. But I would say within the next 6 months to a year or so, you're going to see that we're going to get another wave of inflation going up. Okay. Now, there is a liquidity problem going on now with the banks, meaning that at the end of the day, when they do their books, they don't have enough cash on hand in order to stay legal, right? In order to have enough reserves for them to be legally operating that business. So what do they have to do? They have to borrow money. And before 2019, the way that banks did that, it's called overnight lending. And before 2019, the way that banks did that is they would borrow money from each other. So if Bank A was, let's say, $1 million short on what they needed to have in reserves to stay legal, then they would go to Bank B or C and say, hey, man, do you have a surplus of $1 million? Can I borrow it overnight? And they were like, okay, yeah, sure. Go ahead and let me get a 0.5% for overnight. And they would do that. But then we had what you may remember was called the repo crisis, all right, where the prices of overnight lending from bank to bank, they didn't trust each other. They stopped trusting each other because they realized that there was a liquidity problem, meaning what? Just not enough cash to go around. So the Federal Reserve stepped in, and then that's probably how you all were introduced to the repo market. The Federal Reserve, being that they had the Fed's fund rate, which is a lot lower than what other banks were charging each other, they started lending to the banks overnight, and now it's pretty much out of control. Now they're lending in the tens of billions of dollars every single night just to keep these banks above water. So eventually this is going to break because it's only on an uphill trend. This has been trending upward, meaning that they've been having to lend more and more as time goes by, which tells me that we're headed towards a liquidity problem. So what does the Federal Reserve do whenever we have a liquidity problem, meaning that we don't have enough cash in the system? Exactly. They do QE. They do quantitative easing. They do it in one of two ways. They either buy bonds from the banks and print money out of thin air, or they can also lower interest rates, which also creates inflation. And for those of you that may not know, the way that interest rate lowering, the lowering of interest rate creates inflation is because when you go to borrow money from a bank, let's say you're taking out a mortgage and you're going to go borrow $500,000. Well, when you sign that contract, when you obligate yourself to pay the terms of that loan, and then the bank manager or the loan manager, when he obligates those funds, he just created those funds, that $500,000 that you borrowed and that you agreed to pay interest on for the next X number of years. When the bank manager signs that paperwork and punches those numbers into a keyboard and presses enter, he or she just created that $500,000 out of thin air. It never existed. The bank never had that money. All right. They just created out of thin air, and they're going to charge you interest for that money that they never had to bring into existence with labor. Right. So that is a way of creating inflation because you're bringing money into the system that never existed. So those are two ways that I say government because I think they're one and the same. Those are two ways that the government / Federal Reserve can create inflation. Is by printing it out of thin air to buy bonds, and also by lowering interest rates, which encourage people to borrow more money that never really existed. So the price of gold and silver, they're telling us right now that we are going to have inflation in the price of things here in the near future. So inflation will never, ever go anywhere. Inflation will never go down. Whenever you hear the word inflation or the word quantitative easing or the word stimulus, right? Whenever you hear these words, what you want to switch that word around with, or those words around with, is the theft of your labor, right? Because the Federal Reserve has a mandate of trying to keep inflation at about 2%. So what that really means is that they have a mandate to take from you 2% of the wealth that you've already earned and saved year over year over year, right? So I'm not sure if it was the Creature from Jekyll Island, if it was that book, G. Edward Griffith, where there was a passage where I read that it said that in a person's working life, every single thing that they've earned will have been taxed at about 70%. Meaning that throughout your entire working life, after inflation is adjusted into it, after taxes, etc., you would have only really been able to keep about 30% of what you earned. And one of the big ways is through inflation. It's a tax that not very many people know is a tax. They just think that it's the price of things going up. But a lot of people don't ask why. And this kind of stuff is not taught in schools. So it's important that you teach your children about inflation. Teach them what the difference between inflation and the price of things are going up. Because everyone in America and in a lot of places in the world, they know that the price of things are going up, right, ladies and gentlemen? But why are the price of things going up? Now, yes, we do have supply and demand, right? Supply and demand is a very good tool to keep the price of things down, believe it or not, right? So that people don't hoard all of these things, especially during natural disasters and things like that. But inflation, in my opinion, is the main culprit for why your life is so expensive today compared to what it would have been 50 years ago or 60 years ago, right? Before all of these money creation started to happen. Because if you take a look at the M2 money supply, which is the chart that the Federal Reserve tracks, I think it's Fred of St. Louis. They track how much actual Federal Reserve notes / money. We'll call it money, okay? Because everyone thinks that Federal Reserve notes are money. But they track how much money there is in the economy, right? So if you go back to 1971 and you see how much money there was in the economy, at about 1971 to 1973, you'll see that chart just pretty much going straight up, right? It was kind of like going like this for a long time. And then once Nixon took us off the gold standard, and especially in 1973, when Henry Kissinger went to Saudi Arabia and they worked out the deal with the petrodollar, that chart just pretty much went parabolic. Money creation was out of control, and it stayed out of control, and it still is out of control, right? And believe it or not, even with all of the money creation that has occurred over the last several decades, there is not enough fiat currency in the system to satisfy even the stock market. All right. So I was having this argument with artificial intelligence the other day, believe it or not. And I'm asking artificial intelligence, I'm like, well, you know, the M2 money supply has only got about $22 trillion. And they're like, yeah, that's true. It's about 22 trillion. And I said, well, the stock market is supposedly worth about $55 trillion in fiat currency units. Yeah. Well, how can it be that something is worth more than all of the money in the system, in the economy? How can that be? And of course, AI is going to search for the most plausible answer. And the answers they gave me were not satisfactory at all. They're like, well, not everyone's going to trade in their stocks at once, pretty much saying that there's not going to be a bank run on the stock market, right? And then I tell them, I'm like, well, supposedly we owe $38 trillion in the United States of America. How can we owe $38 trillion but have about half of what we owe in the bank? So if you take the money supply, the M2 money supply, and you you kind of like say, okay, that's our bank account, right? The country's bank account. It's the money that everyone has in their piggy bank, right? We don't even have enough money in the bank to satisfy our national debt. So where do we make up that difference? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the only way to make up that difference is by creating more money, right? By creating more money out of thin air, because there's not enough services, supplies, and products that we can produce in order to make up that difference, so that we can work that money into existence instead of creating it out of thin air. So I believe that we're going to have some kind of a liquidity crisis, right? And then after which, what does the Fed do? What is the one thing that the Fed does that it's really, really good at? Destroying people's lives by doing what? Creating money out of thin air, making everything that the working man and woman need a lot more expensive, except for their salaries. And that's why you always need to be prepared, ladies and gentlemen, always. Because the next time that something like this happens, we're going to have a reset. There's no choice. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's going to be a reset. I think we're in the middle of one right now, believe it or not. But there's going to be a reset that's going to have a hard stop, right? And people are going to get caught off guard. But do you want to be one of those people that's caught off guard with 3 days of food in your pantry? Or do you want to be one of those people that's going to be caught off guard, with a year's supply of food or with 6 months supply of food? Because remember, as long as you have food, you're going to be okay. You're going to be able to live. As long as you have food, water, medicines, the things that you know you're going to need, keep them, because eventually it will happen again. Just like the Great Depression occurred in the early 1930s, right after the 29 market crash, something similar to that is going to happen again. Will it be for the same reasons? I can't say, because that's not how cycles work. It's like they say, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And what that means is that we're going to go through something very similar that we went through back in the 1929s, 1930s, but it doesn't mean that the reason that we're going to go through it is going to be the same reason why it occurred back then, right? So that's why I don't sit here and tell you, hey, this is for sure going to happen. This is going to happen tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, unless it's something that's tangible, right? Like I put out a video here a while back that about October 21st, and that was a tangible title. October 21st, everything's going to change, and it's already started to change with the tokenization that banks are starting to do, and with that Genius Act allowing them to do it. I think it's one of their steps that they need to accomplish in order for us to have a digital wallet, i.e. digital ID and all that kind of stuff, because that stuff's coming down the line. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what party's in office. It really doesn't matter. I've often said that the only thing that matters about a party being in office at a certain time is how fast is that train going. See, that train is going to hit that wall. It's going to hit that wall. No matter what anyone does, it's going to hit that wall. But how fast is it going to hit? That, in my opinion, that's the only thing that really matters with who's in office, all right? Because things are not going to get any easier for at least the next 5 to 7 years, I would say. I would say that in the early 30s to mid 30s, we're going to be in a new season where things are going to finally be looking good for the generation at hand. So continue to stay prepared, because that's the only thing, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to pretty much save you from your standard of living being lowered to that of which they want it to be for you. Okay. I remember a long time ago, I've been doing this YouTube channel for 8 years now. I remember years ago, I remember talking about how one of the things that the powers that be wanted and want is to get rid of the middle class. Not only to get rid of the middle class in the United States of America, but to get rid of the middle class worldwide. Well, how's that working out? I'm sorry to say that I think I was right, because the middle class is being eviscerated, and not only here in the US, but take a look at other countries as well, right? And I believe that being as prepared as you possibly can be is the main way that you can combat not being a total victim to the circumstances of the actions of those people that we ask or to represent us. So let me see. So if you take a look at that banner that's going across the bottom, it says pretty much that I still have not received 2 emails from 2 of the winners of the reverse osmosis water filtration system from SIMPURE. I have not received that yet. So whoever these 2 people out here, I think it's 70 Washington, and I forgot the name of the other one. Let me see, SIMPURE RO Systems, Debbie Sue 8608 and 70 Washington. If you're watching, take a look at that banner, send me an email to that email that you see down there with your information before midnight tonight. If not, I'm going to have to give those other 2 RO systems away to someone else. Okay, so I hope that you're here listening, and I hope that you get this message before the end of this this live stream. And one of the things that I'm going to do is I actually forgot to bring this up, but I have to get a random comment picker for this live stream, because today we're going to pick one of you out here to get an RO system. And what I'm going to do also, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Okay, I'm going to pick 3 people for an RO system. The first person that we pick from the live stream here, that person is guaranteed. You won it, all right? And I need you to send me your information immediately to myself at that email down there, sfc excuse me, sfcofimart@gmail.com. Just look at the email address down there. It's correct, right? I will need you to send me your information immediately. I would have to have it immediately. So like if you're watching right now and you win, you're going to get on your email and you're going to send me your name, your address, your phone number. I will only use that information, and forward it to SIMPURE so that they can ship you your RO system, okay? And then I'm also going to pick 2 other people. And those 2 other people that I pick are going to be runner-ups, right? And then tomorrow morning, if I don't have an email from these 2 persons right here that I'm still waiting on an email for, I'm going to go ahead and send it to you all, to the other 2 runner-ups, okay? But everyone that I pick here tonight, you're going to need to send me your info right away. I would like to have it in my inbox before the live stream is even over. That way tomorrow morning, I can send my contact at SIMPURE all the information, and then you should all have your RO systems by the end of the week. All right, so I hope that that works for you. All right, and for those of you that are joining in, remember that Mondays is Silver Mondays until the end of this calendar year. I'll be giving silver away every single Monday. If you entered to win last Monday's video, make sure that you watch tomorrow's video, because that's where I will announce the winner, and then you can contact me and I'll be sending you all 2 ounces of silver to whoever wins for tomorrow, okay? And then after that, every Monday till the end of the year. And who knows, maybe we'll keep it going a little bit longer till after the 1st of next year, right? Texas Travel Time, how you doing, Texas Travel Time? Good to see you. Colorado Pack Rat Prepper is in the house. Patrice, how you doing? Barefoot's house, how you doing? Let's see, Northern Texas is in the house. The home of Buc-ee's. Oh, I love Buc-ee's. How you doing, Mary? Good to see you. Jetty U from North Carolina. Let's bring it on down. I know that I'm really long-winded. I'm not sure if I did mention this during our live stream. Our moderators, ladies and gentlemen, during the time that I was off, that I wasn't making any videos, life happened, all right? It's not all good things. Actually, you know, some pretty bad things have happened to our moderators. All of our moderators, per se, they're all okay, but some things happen in their lives that, you know, it's not great, all right? So, and I just like to say life happened, all right? And so, you know, I felt terrible. Oh, look at that. Is that Ma? Ma, how you doing? It's good to see you. Oh, goodness. You know, I like to say that while I was off, that I was in contact with them, but, you know, I was going through my own thing and I was not in contact with them. You know, I feel bad for that, but it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and try to fake it. It's just the truth. Let's see. Linda Bob is in the house, and Linda Bob has a very important message for you all. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen to Linda. She's one of our OGs as well. She knows what she's talking about. Let's see. It's good to see all of you. Thank you very much for being here. Only in My Dreams is in the house as well. How are you doing, Only in My Dreams? Good to see you. A9 is here. Scrap Metal Racing is in the house. I haven't seen you in a little bit. Good to see you. Su Ju. You know who I miss? I miss Xi Jinping. Remember Xi Jinping? He used to visit us every once in a while. But I haven't seen him in a while. Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, Crazy Backyard Chicken, man. The price of food is definitely not going down. There may be a few things here and there that go down, but you think it's going down, but it's really not. You know, so one of the ways that governments likes to pacify or keep their people happy is by doling out subsidies for this or for that, and the price at the store comes down for you. But guess what? Rolling out subsidies does. It creates inflation, right? It puts money where it's not supposed to be. So, you know, so instead of letting nature, instead of letting prices go down naturally and settle where they're supposed to be, the government gets involved. And there's not very many things that I know of that the government has gotten involved with that have succeeded. So it's just not the right thing for them to do. But, you know, the number one focus of government, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand is this: it's government. The number one focus of government is that government stay in control and stay in power and stay relevant. That's their number one focus. If people that think that government's number one focus is the people, it's not, right? With the exception of people that were working for government or that depended on government for one thing or another, how did the shutdowns or how did the government shutdown really affect anyone here? I can speak for myself. It really didn't affect me at all or affect life here in Fairbanks at all. Now, if you work for the government, if you're dependent on the government for something that is providing you, then yeah, you were affected. However, who created that problem of dependence? The government did, right? Back in 1964, Lyndon B. Johnson, he decided to do the war on poverty. And since then, we've spent probably in excess of $31 trillion fighting the war on poverty. And has poverty gotten better in the United States of America or gotten worse? Now, granted, in the U.S., some of the poorest people are richer than more than half of the world. But when we're talking about the U.S. here as a closed system, right? Has poverty gotten better or gotten worse? To our standard, it's gotten a lot worse, even after $31 trillion. So my question is this: where has that $31 trillion gone? Right? So where is it? Why didn't it eliminate poverty? The reason is because in order for the government to give you something, it has to take it away from someone else. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, the government has been taken from people, transfer of wealth, taken from people and giving to others for a very long time. And it's going to come to bite us in the butt, especially those that are dependent on government. And look, I'm dependent on government. I'm dependent on receiving my retirement pay, my disability pay every single month. I'm dependent on that. Could I make it without it? Man, I really have to hustle. I would really have to hustle, But so I'm not putting myself above anyone else, But I do believe that that's a benefit that, I earned. But anyways, I digress. Let me get off of my soapbox here. Let's see. Nancy asks, with war officially mentioned, war has been officially mentioned? Are you serious? I haven't really been keeping up with the news this week, and I've just been hanging out, making videos about keeping your furnace going. Can't gold and silver be confiscated again? Well, you have to understand that the gold that was confiscated back in the 30s, only about 20 or 30% of the people turned it in, right? And you may say, okay, well, if it's confiscated and it's made illegal, then how are you going to spend it? One of the oldest things that's been around since mankind is called, and they named it this in order for it to sound bad, it's called the black market. So you see, in Venezuela, you can't even take gold out of the country. So, but people still trade in gold and silver. And in my opinion, gold and silver will keep you fed, whether the government confiscates it or any of that. And I don't believe the government is going to confiscate it. Couple of reasons. It's going to be social media, the Constitution, and the percentage of people in the United States that actually own gold and silver, physical gold and silver, is so small that it's not worth for the government to go through a nightmarish public relations as far as people being shown, the news or social media showing people coming into someone's house, government official coming into your house to take a few ounces of silver or gold that you may have saved over the years. So the public relations disaster would be too much for the government to bear. Social media nowadays, where we have like a 2-hour or 4-hour news coverage, like the news cycle is only a few hours long nowadays. I don't think that they will ever attempt to do that again. And plus, a lot of people that hold gold and silver, they're of the patriotic mindset, meaning Constitution, where they believe that the rule of law, should apply. I just think it would be a nightmare for them to do it. Now, do I believe that they could nationalize gold and silver mines? I believe they could. It would be an uphill battle as far as the Constitution goes. But, with those emergency powers that any administration that's in place can use, they can pretty much do anything. So do I believe that they can nationalize mines and such? Yeah, they can do that. But I don't think that they'll confiscate it. And in all honesty, I think that what they would rather do before they confiscate it is just tax the heck out of it or tax the profits out of it. But then again, you have the black market, ladies and gentlemen. The black market is always going to be around no matter what, because people will always find a way to get around unjust laws. They always will. They always have. I mean, look at Argentina. This was years ago. This was not recent. I'm guessing this was like between 5 and 10 years ago when they were having one of their really big inflationary problems. The people ended up stopping the use of their local currency, of their national currency, and they made their own currency. They opened up what was like a bazaar or like a flea market, a really big flea market, and they made their own paper currency. And people that went in there to provide a service or to provide a good, they would only accept that currency within that area, and they would buy and sell with that currency. So if you needed something, all you had to do was show up there with something that provided value, sell it to someone. They will give you their little paper note, and then you can take that paper note and go buy something that you needed from someone else that was selling it. That in itself is like a black market because it's going around the official system, right? But people will always come up with a way to get what they need, whether the government likes it or not. So that's why I believe that if you have all of your preps ready and you're good to go for several months, preferably at least a year, I believe personally that it is a good idea to put away a little bit of at least silver. And it doesn't have to be, 5,000 ounces. It can just be little by little, buy a dime here, buy a quarter there, buy an ounce here or there, whenever you can, and then just put it in a can and then just leave it alone. And if you ever need it, you have it to go to. And if you never ever need it, just leave it to your kids. Just consider it a form of savings that does not allow itself to be robbed of its wealth by the government printing money out of nowhere. That's what it is. So let's see. You know what? Give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. Random. There it is. Right there. Give me a second. I'm still with you. Okay. Let's see here. I'm just trying to get the link so that I can put it in the YouTube random picker here. Okay, boom. All right. YouTube. There's one. Man, these things got complicated. 6. Oh, no, it won't do it because it's a live stream. All right, I guess we're going to have to do it live. We're going to have to do it live, ladies and gentlemen. No problem. I've got experience in this. I'm just a little bit rusty. Hey, New Florida Prepper, how you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Hey, if you all have questions, put question in the front and then put it all in caps. It allows me to catch it a little bit easier. Are gold bags a good investment? I just learned about them and the gold and silver shops don't carry them. Where am I at? Some people like gold bags. I just think that the premium on them is so high. I really do. I can't see myself paying 100%, sometimes a little more than 100% premium on them. And for those of you that don't know, the premium is like whatever is added to the price, that's the market price. So let's say, for example, that today the market price of silver is $50. Well, if you go buy an ounce of silver, you're not going to pay $50 for it. You're going to pay more than that. And the difference between what you pay and what the market price is, that's the premium. And for a gold back, you know, the last time I checked, the premium was like almost 100%. So you're pretty much paying twice as much for the amount of gold that was on there. And then in addition to that, I mean, with a what are they called again? Goldbacks? Goldbacks, yeah. With the goldbacks, I mean, has anyone put them through a washer and dryer cycle? I haven't, but I'm just asking. There's some of these things that I talk about because the goldbacks have actual real gold in them. They have like, they sell some notes where they have 1,000th of an ounce of gold or 2,000th of an ounce of gold, etc. But has anyone, but the gold on it is so very thin that it leads me to believe that maybe if you put it through the ringer, like in a washer and dryer, that maybe it won't destroy the gold, but maybe it won't be applicable. You know what I mean? So that's another problem that I may have with it, that you can actually destroy it to the point where it's not usable. You see, so the gold will never be destroyed, but would it still be captured within the film that it's printed on if you put that thing to a washer and dryer, or if you burnt it? If you burn it, you're not going to be able to recover that 1/1000th of an ounce of gold. You're not going to be able to recover that. So you know what I like better than the goldbacks? So anyways, that's why I don't really like goldbacks too much, ladies and gentlemen. Let me show you what I like better. I actually found these a few months back at the coin shop. And Jerry pretty much sold them to me for what he gave them to me. I would rather have this instead of a goldback. See this right here? Let me see if you guys can read this. This little thing right here is 1/4 of a grain of gold. All right. So in 1 troy ounce of gold, there's 480 grains, right? In 1 troy ounce of gold. This is 1/4 of that. So this is just shy of 1/2000th of an ounce of gold. This right here, right? Actually, this is a little more. It's a little heavier than 1/2000th of an ounce of gold. It's like, let me see. So you're looking at 960. So 1920. So this is 1/1920th of an ounce of gold, right? So, but this is an actual little piece of gold. You see, so this little piece of gold here, first of all, this card right here, if I put it through the washer and dryer, more than likely it's going to survive. But you see, this is an actual physical piece of gold. It's not something that's like sprayed on or printed on or something like that. I'm not sure how they make the gold bags, but it's not something like that. This right here will more than likely survive a washing or being abused a lot more than a gold bag. So anyways, that's why I really don't prefer. I'm not against them. I think you ought to save however you want to save, you know. So I'm not really against them. I just personally, I'd rather not do it. I'd rather just get small pieces of silver than to get gold backs, and I just keep the silver. I think that silver is going to outperform gold for a long time coming too. I see that. I was taking a look at the silver to gold ratio chart here the other day, and it's in a bear market, which is a great thing for silver. So the silver to gold ratio, I think the last I saw it was like 78 or 79. But if you take a look at the chart, at the technical analysis of it, it's in a bear market. It's below the 200, and it's just going down. It almost looks it almost looks like a failed chart. But I believe that our next hard stop on the gold to silver ratio, I believe it's going to be around the low 70s, like 72. It's going to come to a stop there and maybe hang out for a little bit. But then long term, talking about like within the next 2 to 3 years or so, I'm thinking that the gold to silver ratio is probably going to be in the 50s, if not lower than that. Right? Just looking at those charts. And I'm not a professional chartist or TA guy. It's just something that I've been doing for years now, and I do it for fun. And that's what I think. You know, like I think silver here, probably within the next 6 months or so, it's going to be in the low 70s. And as far as dollars go, I have it at like between $68 and like $72, within the next several months. I'm pretty sure by April. And the reason I say April is because in April, a very big thing is going to happen. In April, India has instituted a law where it's going to allow people in their country or people in general to borrow money from their central bank using gold and silver as collateral. So I think that come April, things are going to get pretty interesting as far as the fiat currency price of gold and silver go. But remember that the main thing that's the most important about holding precious metals is that it's going to allow you to retain your purchasing power. So if today you could take an ounce of silver and buy 20 gallons of gas with it, 20 years from now, you should be able to take that same ounce of silver, no matter what the nominal price is, and still buy around 20 gallons of gas with it, if not a little bit more. All right. So I saw the word tariff on here, and I've often said, and I like to premise this by saying, yeah, I'm not an economist, I'm not a professional in any of this stuff, but it's just taking a look at it, right? So, and I've been beaten up by this a lot over the years. I've always said that, hey, listen, tariffs is just a way, it's just another tax. Imposed tariffs is going to make you pay more. Right? It's going to make you pay more for whatever you're getting, all right? Depending on the company, some companies can absorb some of it and they only have increased prices a little bit. But tariffs, I think there shouldn't be any tariffs anywhere. There shouldn't be any tariffs anywhere. It should be a free market. That's a free market exists when competition has no boundaries, right? When you can compete against this person or this country and they can compete, head to head. But that's just me thinking out loud. That's my personal my personal opinion. But like I was saying, I've been beat up a lot saying, hey, tariffs are no good. Tariffs are going to increase the price of things. It's just got to happen sooner or later. It will. Well, I saw an article here and I had it pulled up. My computer crashed and I had to restart it and do a whole bunch of stuff to it. But anyways, I was reading an article where I think it was Besant, the Secretary of the Treasury, right? Besant, I think is his name. Forget his first name. But he was saying that President Trump is going to lower the tariffs on coffee, and I think it was bananas. I'm not sure if it was bananas or not, but on coffee for sure. He's going to lower the tariffs. And the explanation afterward said so that it can help to bring down the cost of coffee. And I think it was bananas for the American people. I'm like, but wait a minute. I thought that we were being told that tariffs don't add to the price of things. So why are you taking the tariffs off in order to bring down the price for the American people? Isn't that kind of like, talking out of both sides, really? So anyways, I just thought that was interesting that they would put that out there to the public instead of keeping it to themselves, them admitting that, yeah, if we take the tariffs off of this, it's going to bring down the price for the American people. Now, I'm all for it. I am all for the price of coffee coming down, although even if they take the tariffs off, ladies and gentlemen, stock up on your coffee, because even if they take those tariffs out, coffee prices are still going to go up. I forget what video it was that I put up not too long ago, but in 2026, the world is going to be about 900 million pounds of coffee short. All right, about 900 million pounds of coffee short. Right, that's about 90,000 bags of coffee. Each bag, I think it's like 100 pounds, so like 900 million or so, something like that. But it's a lot. It's like a very big percentage of the coffee that is used, consumed annually, in the world, not just the U.S. So even if they bring down the tariffs, we're still going to end up paying more for coffee than what we do now. Right. So if you look at coffee here in the last 5 or 6 years, it's at least doubled, at least, if not more. Okay, I couldn't believe that freeze-dried coffee that I recommend for people to get, not Nutrient Survival. That's the very best freeze-dried coffee there is. It's delicious. All right, but I'm talking about something that's less expensive that you can buy at the store. And it was is it that Maxwell House? The last time I went to Costco, for one of those like 12-ounce containers, it was like $22. I remember buying those for $12. not more than 1-2 years ago, and now it's $22 for that. Well, if they take the tariffs off the coffee, the price may stabilize for a little bit, but trust me, it's just going to continue to go up. There's nowhere else to go but up. And if we do fall into somewhat of like a, let's say we fall into like a deflationary depression, right? Which is what happened during the Great Depression. It was a deflationary depression. They did not have the money. They didn't have enough money in the system, right? And then FDR, he definitely fixed that deflationary thing. He definitely fixed it by taking the people's gold and then revaluing it, increasing inflation by 60-70%, right? So that's how he got them out of the Great Depression, ladies and gentlemen. That's how FDR got the people out of the Great Depression, is that he confiscated their gold. He gave them $20.67 for each ounce of gold. And then once he got all the gold that he could possibly get, he revalued the gold to $35, about a 60% increase. All right. And effectually made everyone's lives that he gave that $20.67 per ounce, made their lives 60%, if not more expensive. And what did he use the money that he inflated for? He used that money that he inflated to start the the Great New Deal, not the Green New Deal. He used that money that he inflated, pretty much that he took from the people. He used that same money to hire them to go to work. So a lot of people say that he was a great president, that he got us out of the Great Depression. But what they don't ask is how. How did he get us out of the Great Depression besides World War I? You know, he took the people's money by force. And then once he took their money by force, he went ahead and made their lives 60% or more expensive, where a lot of them lost their homes, lost their farms. And then he used that money that he took from the people. He used that money to hire them, to pay them. So he took their money and used that same money that he took from them to pay them to go dig dishes, right, and build the Hoover Dam and stuff. But anyways, you know, these are some of the things that you really don't hear in schools. Let's see. You know what? Hey, how you doing, 20 and Pump 5? Good to see you. Let's see. Paula has a question. I bought some really good thin brown rice cakes last week for $3.99. I went to get more yesterday, and they were almost $6. Wow, that's crazy, huh? Well, at least you got some of those for $3.99. You know what? Actually, Paula, now that you say that, I don't know the name of the video, but it's out there. Someone showing you how to make your own rice cakes. Maybe try learning how to make your own rice cakes. That would probably be great if that's something that you consume on a regular. It would save you a whole bunch of money, because for $3.99, you could probably buy yourself, you know, what, a couple of pounds of rice, and it doesn't take that much rice. Okay. Wow. Hey, Nostradamus, how you doing? Ribeye, $21.99 at Kroger in North Georgia. That's ridiculous. Well, here, it depends what type, because here, like at Costco, the prime ribeye is like $28 for the prime. And the regular choice is, I think when I saw it, if you bought the ones that they cut and trimmed themselves, is like $18.99. But if you bought the whole side of it, the whole piece of it, it's like $14.99 if you cut it yourself. And definitely that's what I would do, or that's what I ended up doing. I'm going to check my email real quick to see if, man, it's almost an hour already. Oh my goodness. I'm going to check my email really quick, ladies and gentlemen. That way I can see if I received an email from any one of the winners. Okay. Let's see. Oh, that's awesome. I just got an awesome email right now that I wasn't expecting right away. Okay, I haven't received an email from anyone, so I'm just going to go ahead and get this done on my own here. So I'm going to go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and pick 3 people, all right? I'm going to do it the old school way. For those of you that have been here long enough, the way I used to do this before I had that automatic picker was I used to put my mouse over the names, and then I used to go up and down without looking at it, just go up and down and stop somewhere, and I would pick that. And that's the one that would win. So that's how we're going to do it today, all right? So that way, you know, it's not pre-picked or anything like that. But you know what? I just received an email from my contact at OUPES. And by the way, if OUPES is having a really big sale through the end of the month, all right, and check out their Black Friday sale because it's like up to 55% off. You know, I was looking at the price of the Mega 5 today, like during one of their sales, and comparing it to what it was when it first came out a few years back. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like so much cheaper now than what it was back then. But usually with technology, that's how it works. The more competition there is, technology and the free market, the more competition there is and the easier it is for a corporation or a business to make something, prices go down, right? So that's usually how it works with technology. But I just got an email from her saying, hey, I'm going to get you some things to give away. All right, so I'm not going to be able to give those things away today. Maybe next live stream, I'll give some of them away. So there's some really cool emergency packs that OUPES came up with. So anyways, I'll go ahead and maybe do that next time we have a live stream. All right, I don't want to commit to having a live stream at a certain day every single week because, you know, things are a little bit erratic still. So we're going to wait until things stabilize. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 3 people. The first one is going to be the winner of an RO system. I need you to send me your email and your information immediately. Just look at the email address in the bottom of this, the description right here. You know what? Let me go ahead and just put that here. I want to put it right now. Here you go. I just sent it out. Let me see if it'll show up. There's my email address right there. Okay. That's the email address that you have to send me your information to ASAP if you win tonight. And if you're 2 of the runner-ups, send it to me ASAP as well. Because if I don't have the information for the other 2 winners by tomorrow morning when I wake up, you won. And I'll let you know if you won or not. Okay? So let's do this. Let me just go ahead. I'm just going to watch you guys while we're doing this. And I'm going to, let me see. Well, you know what? Let me get a question real quick. See if I can get a question, and while I'm answering your question, I can see about checking it. I can see about picking someone. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, I love doing giveaways. All right, I really do. I really enjoy doing giveaways. So, what is this? Okay. But I always hope that whoever wins really, really needs one. And you know, if there's someone here that needs like a solar generator for a medical reason, let's say, for example, you have okay, this is what we can talk about. Let's say, for example, that you have an oxygen machine that you need, right? And you don't have a solar generator because you can't afford one. Then if you go to the OUPES website, my link is in the description of every one of my videos, all right? So if you go to the OUPES website, there's a tab there called OUPES Helps. Okay, and that tab, you fill out a short survey asking you why you need one, et cetera, et cetera. It's not very intrusive at all. It's just basic information. And then what OUPES does is they save 5% of their bottom line. They save 5% of their revenue, and they use that to give back to people that need a solar generator. Okay, so let me see. This is the person I picked, Aaron Mast 1543. All right, let me go ahead and grab your name real quick. Aaron Mast 1543. All right, hey Aaron, you are the winner. Congratulations. How long old is this? 40. Okay, this is not too old, so hopefully he's still here. Hey, Aaron, go ahead and send me an email to the email address that I got down there. You can see it right down there in the banner. Send me your information ASAP, and you're the winner of that RO system. All right. And then I'll have SIMPURE ship it to you out this week. More likely like tomorrow or Tuesday. Yeah, that's right. That's the taster's choice, Patrice. It's the taster's choice. Yeah. The one that I was talking about, that coffee freeze dry. It's actually not bad coffee. Not really bad for being a, like cheap freeze dry coffee. Well, not really cheap anymore, but not a bad coffee for giving you some caffeine, during times where maybe it's not available at the corner store, right? Let's see. So that's our winner. Let me see. Did we get an email yet? Oh, man. I never thought that it would be so tough, ladies and gentlemen, to give something away. But Aaron Mast, 1543. All right. You're still here. Send me your email. If you're still here, say hallelujah downstairs. Let me see. Did he say anything here? Aaron Mast? No. Hey, Cooking Mom, how you doing? Cooking Mom? Let me see real quick, Cooking Mom. Cooking Mom is the person that gave away her RO system. Cooking Mom, here is the benefactor of the RO system that you told me to pay for. That's Aaron Mast, 1543. All we're doing now is just waiting on his email. Let's see. Okay. You know what? I don't really know how much tariffs would affect the price of grains. I guess it just depends on what the percentage the tariff is. So the higher the tariff, I would assume that the more that it would affect the price. Oh, I think I got an email. There he is. Yeah, but Aaron, you have to send me your information. You can't just put down thanks. Your info, please. Okay, Aaron, I got your email, but send me your information. I just emailed you back saying, send me your info, please. All right. So you are the winner. Now we're going to pick two runners up. For those of you that may be joining, may just have joined here a minute ago. So I just gave away an RO system that somebody won that doesn't live in the country, in the US. All right. I just gave that away. That's a for sure. Aaron just won that. And I think he just sent me an email with his information. So I'll check that out in a second. But I still have two people that have not contacted me that won a system. And those two people are down in the banner down there. Right. And what I said earlier during this live stream is that if they do not contact me by midnight tonight, first thing in the morning tomorrow, I'm going to get up, I'm going to check my email, and I haven't been contacted by them with their information. I'm going to give those two away to two of you. So the next two people that I'm going to pick here are going to be runners up. I would still need you to send me your info, and in the morning, I will email you back and let you know whether you won or not, whether one of the other people, send me their information on time or not. All right. So more than likely, if they haven't sent it to me by now, more than likely they're probably not going to, and that's that. All right. So the next two people that I'm going to pick, I'm going to go ahead and put you on the runners app, on the runner up. All right. Not the runners app. Okay. Let's see. All right. I'm going to close my eyes for this one. You know what? I'm going to go to the very last comment right here. Okay. Here it is. You are right. That is funny. Marcia, you are right. You'll be a runner-up. So you are a runner-up. Go ahead and send me your information right now. All right, let me write your name down. That's funny. You were the very newest comment when I picked you. All right, so Marcia Y. Marcia Y. Marcia Y-T2W. T2W. Okay, and I'll put here runner up. Okay, we got one more runner up. I hope you guys are having fun doing this. This is a lot of fun for me. Okay, Marcia, make sure you email me ASAP. Okay, you need to email me ASAP. Okay, let's see. Boom. Okay, hey Aaron, I just got your information. You know what? I'll just give them my phone number. People don't like to share their phone numbers, but they need them just in case the FedEx has to give you a call or whatever. But if they call me, then I guess I'll tell them to drop it at your front door. All right. So if you want to send me your phone number, Aaron, they do require that. But if you don't, I'll just give them 7 ones. But if they can't contact you, then I'm not sure. I'll try to get tracking numbers. Okay. I'll say, okay, so Aaron just got me his information. Here it is. Let me put a star next to here so I don't misplace it. Okay, let me see. Boom. Okay, please don't email me here just to say hello. Just hi. I love you guys, okay? But it's kind of difficult for me to try to navigate through all of these inbox stuff. All right, so especially when I'm waiting for some emails, that way I can make sure I give those. Okay, Marcia, send me your information. The email address is down there in that thing. All right, so the last one, I'm just gonna go up and stop when I stop. Okay, this is the one right here. Jafferty 4. You are the next winner. You're the next runner up, excuse me. So Jafferty 4, congratulations, guys. Yeah, that's right, Jafferty. And that's the way it should be. If something is grown, if something is produced in the US, if it's actually produced here and another country is selling it to us, having tariffs to me is not bad, right? Especially if that country tariffs us. Right. So if we produce something here and another country produces something similar and they want to ship it in and that country tariffs us anyways, I don't think it's a bad thing for us to have tariffs on that. But if it's something that we don't grow here, like here in the US, we don't grow enough coffee to supply ourselves with what we need. So we shouldn't really have tariffs, or not high tariffs, at least on coffee coming in. That just doesn't make too much sense. But Jeff, you are the second runner up for the RO system. I'll let you, if you send me your information, I'll let you know tomorrow whether or not you're going to actually get one and get it shipped to you. So send me your info so that I can have it ready to go first thing in the morning. All right, let me go ahead and write your name down. Jeffer TY4. TY4, runner up. Okay, I got my 2 runner-ups and my winner. Okay, and my actual winner here. Okay, hey, thanks a lot, Aaron. I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate the phone number. Don't worry. As far as I know, they don't sell phone numbers or anything like that. I've been working with SIMPURE now for years, with them and OUPES, and I found that they're really, really good companies. They do really good. I mean, look at what SIMPURE did for me. They agreed to give me 1 out of every 10 units sold. They gave me a free unit to give away. So, I mean, that's great. That's a good thing. So, all right. And then what I'm going to do is if I don't get any information from Jefferty or the young lady, I already forgot her name, or Marcia, if I don't get their information, I'm just going to tell my rep to send them to me, and I'll give them to somebody here that needs it. Okay, let's go down. All right, hey, we're almost closing, man. We're over an hour. Time does run. Time flies when you're having fun. Let's see. Army vet girl, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh my goodness, I am so far behind. You remember all that? That's what I say all the time whenever I'm doing a live. I'm so far behind. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what is tomorrow? What is Monday? All right, what is Monday's video called? Every Monday is going to be what? Somebody write it down so I can put it up on the screen. Hey, baby Ruth, how you doing? It's good to see you. Nice to see you. Well, there you go. Monday is every Monday for the rest of this calendar year is going to be Silver Monday, right? And the only way to enter is to check out my video every single Monday. I'm going to be giving silver away on that video, on whatever video I did that Monday. Okay, so just go check it out. It's free, ladies and gentlemen. It was free to me, so I'm going to give it to you. All right, it's free, and I'll never give less than 2 ounces. It's going to be at least 2 ounces or more. And I was figuring. When my new sponsor there, when he made that donation, I asked him for a donation. I said, hey, give me some silver so I can give away, and we'll talk about our sponsorship, later on, right? But I asked him for a donation, and he did. And I told him, I said, hey, man, worst case scenario, if someone gets 2 silver ounces, and they're in hard times, that's $100. They can go trade that in for $100 and go buy some groceries with it. And you know what? That's what it's for. That's what real money is for. So that you can spend it on stuff that you really need, right? When you need it. And it's going to still be able to buy you stuff. All right. So I hope to see you all on Silver Monday. If you haven't caught my video today, go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. That is pretty much the support that I ask of you. Come and hang out with me whenever we do a live. Really appreciate, the fellowship with you all, because I really do care about you guys. And just, watch my videos and share them, give them a like, and do all those things. And, I don't think I've ever asked this, but click the bell, because I've been getting several people tell me, hey, I had to actually look for you because none of your newer videos were being recommended to me. All right, so do that and check it out. And if you are in the market for anything that's in the description of my videos, use my links, because it doesn't cost you a penny more, and it does really help me out. So that's how I ask that you support me. I don't ask you to join Patreon. I don't ask you to join the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club, because in all honesty, I don't believe that I provide more value there than what I do here. All right. So I don't ask for that. Some people do join those platforms just because they want to provide, a little bit of support. And I do appreciate it. But the main support that I ask of you is the support that doesn't cost you anything. Come and watch my videos. Maybe let 30 seconds of an ad run through here or there. If you're going to buy something on Amazon, use my link. It's not going to cost you a penny more. All of that stuff doesn't cost you anything. All right. But it does help me out a lot. All right. And anyways, I overshot it once again, but I did have a good time doing it. So thank you all for being here. I have to work on a new outro. All right. So we'll have a new outro here soon. And thank you all again. I really do appreciate all your support. So God bless every one of you. God bless America. I love you all. I'm Alaska Prepper, and I am, just a second, this is the weird pause where I have to hit the end stream. I am out. God bless.